Hey, I'm Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 2 of the BlockCast. Josh and I are excited to be back here today, and today's episode is a little bit varied, but the main focus, Lego. Is great.
Of course.
I'm so excited. I'm glad it's not about like bicycles or something. That'd be awkward for it
I
to
don't
be
know
the
how to ride a
BlockCast.
bicycle.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
no, I never learned. I grew up on top of a mountain, so it was always,
Oh yeah, I
either
could see
go
how
or
that could be a
fall.
problem. I could see how that
Yeah,
could be a problem, yeah. But yeah, aren't you glad that it's not about bicycles and it's about Lego today,
super glad.
Josh?
Absolutely. I do
Um,
know about Lego.
which is beneficial, especially when our podcast is called the Blockcast. Today we're going to actually be talking a little bit about Josh's recent adventure. Josh, you recently went to Brick Fan Expo. Is that
That's
right?
true. In
Is that right?
Orlando.
In Orlando.
Yes.
And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about what a Lego con is. Like I haven't been to one personally, but I am excited to go to my first one because I know there are a lot more that are up and coming, especially with the Lego Masters TV show. There's a lot more fan base that want to go and experience Legos, and this is a great way to do that.
Absolutely. Did you say Legos?
Ah, shoot! Yes, I did. All right, everybody. I apologize for saying Legos. I think it's a nervous tick. It is Lego, and the plural of Lego is Lego. It's like moose. You don't say meese, right? Unless people
Mooses.
do. Mooses, that's not proper. So it is Lego. If you do catch me, go ahead and let me know how many times I say it in the comments down below. I don't know why I say
The
it.
tally right up here.
Ah, jeez. Like when I was doing the editing for the first episode, ah, I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. Lego, um, where
Or
people
Lego
can
bricks if you
Lego
really want to throw an S in
bricks.
there.
Do you say blocks, or is that just a Duplo thing?
I guess you could use blocks. I mean, we are the Blockcast, so I hope that's appropriate.
True. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about your experience at a Lego con and what it is really.
Absolutely. So the convention experience for those of you who may not have gone to a convention before, whether Lego or otherwise, it's really just a community coming together to celebrate something that they enjoy. I think probably the most famous conventions that people will hear about are Comic Con, things like that, where the idea is you're coming together to celebrate all these different fandoms for movies, comic books, uh, and television, video games, art, everything kind of comes together. But there's more specific conventions that focus in really on one type of passion community. So with Lego, there's several different conventions that have occurred. This was the second that I've gone to. The first one I went to was Brick Convention.
Hmm.
That was its name. It's pretty simple. And it was a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate, but they have had the brick convention around the country over the past couple of years. This one is Brick Fan Expo, so it's just a different operator, a different company running the event, but it brings together everybody who loves Lego. So you'll have fans come in with their MOCs, my own creations.
There you go.
We learned from episode one to display what they've created. And it could be a mixture of, built sets built into an environment that they add on. So, like, you could take something like the Avengers Tower and develop the area around it, make it an entire street scene and that sort of thing, and bring it to display at the convention. Some other examples that I saw there, we had some artists who were making mosaic pieces, just using the Lego dots, and they made some pretty fantastic art using that. Or there was the Bayview Hotel that we saw. There was a lot of different models like that from creators who just brought their projects, their displays to share with everybody. But then there was other things as well. So of course, there's going to be at most conventions in an exhibitor floor and then a vendor area. So with the Brick Fan Expo, There were several different vendors who came, a lot of them who were had all sorts of different sets that have retired that they were offering, that they were selling. So for someone like Tom, who really likes to kind of the idea of buying and reselling Lego sets,
Yeah.
that's an area that could be of interest to you. So there were some vendors like that. There were some vendors who were doing custom bricks that they would do like custom prints on the bricks. We picked up some window pieces that had movie posters on to kind of complement the design of my own Lego room.
I've seen that more recently because I follow a lot of people on YouTube, as you would in the community, and that's becoming like way more popular in terms of like different pieces too. And especially I've seen a lot with Star Wars minifigures where they paint
Mhm.
on different armor types, and that was something that I hadn't really seen before, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and with the vendors, you can see a lot of that, and pick up some all sorts of different designs. So if you are building your own design or your own creation or you're telling your own story, you can find these custom one of a kind type pieces, bricks that you can incorporate in to help really sell and tell that story that you're making. So it was really fun to kind of check out that area. A lot of the vendors had pick a brick locations that you
Mm.
can go through and sift through a bunch of minifigure heads, create your own minifigure, a sig fig as it were. A sig fig is going to be like the minifigure that's you. So you kind of model it, think of it as like your own plastic avatar. Um, so you could do that. So it was neat to kind of spend some time in the vendor floor. For those of you who don't know, Lego is a fantastic investment. Once a set retires, the value of that set, for the most part, goes up a lot.
Gains
So if
about 8%
there's,
annually.
and that means that some of these retired sets are quite expensive, more
Primo.
expensive than what they would originally retail for. So it's fun to look. It's fun to experience the nostalgia. As we mentioned in the first episode, one of the greatest things that you can do with Lego is go into the aisle and just stare at them. So the vendor section of the convention floor is a lot of staring at sets, but leaving them behind.
Yeah. They
uh,
and here's the thing, as far as like, because I do a lot of reselling. In the reseller market, especially at those cons, they know they have their primo market. It's not like a flea market where you have Legos and you could get that occasional fan. Like everybody, I would say 95% of these people that are going to the con enjoy Lego and are looking for it. And if you just price
yes.
it just below that eBay price, you're going to get that person that's going to want to buy it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there were I witnessed other guests that were there that were looking. They were looking for specific sets. The white whale, as it were, the set that you missed out on that you didn't buy when it was available in stores, and you don't want to take a chance at a reseller who's selling it online where you can't see that the set is sealed necessarily and that
Or
sort of thing.
resealed.
Or resealed, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So these are brand new, never been opened in a lot of cases. Some of the vendors did have open sets that they had in Ziploc bags that were a little bit different, and a lot of them had split sets apart. So if it was a set that had a vehicle and some minifigures, they would sell the vehicle separately and the minifigures separately. So maybe you don't have room to display a gigantic Star Wars ship, but that set came with a minifigure of a character that you really like. You could pick up those individual minifigures there as well. So it was neat to kind of spend some time looking at what all was available, kind of exploring sets of Lego past, and walking away with very, very little, which, if you know me at all, is difficult.
Josh loves his Lego. And
That
hey,
is true.
that's perfectly fine as long as it's appreciated. Um, like so there are multiple different types of Lego collectors out there, right? Josh is one that enjoys the display, as you can clearly see behind him. and he displays it well. Has all the minifigures, has them all displayed, and then you have some Lego collectors that never want to take it out of the box. And like when you go to those cons, it's the idea that, like with Josh said, with the quality of the, like, it's not even if it has the pieces, it's the quality of the box. Some people want to buy like the used box, take their old sets and put them back in the box and then reseal it themselves so it looks absolutely perfect. People will pay for empty Lego boxes. There's a market for everything, and these cons, it's nice because you can take that person that knows Lego, knows how to find it, knows how to buy it, and connect it with the person that wants to collect it and display it. So there's both sides of it, and they work well together. But sometimes people overcharge for things. And that also happens at cons as well. Unless, remember, last day of cons, especially in the last couple hours, coming from a reseller, haggling, do it. Trust me. You'll see how many people don't want to carry that back to their car. I'm
There was
serious.
there was a bit of that going on when we were visiting as well. But there was a little bit less willingness to haggle, I think, on the part of the vendors at the
They
Lego
know
convention.
they know what they have.
Yeah, exactly. They know what they're looking for, and they know what they have. But it was great because it featured some of the locations. Orlando is getting not one, not two, but three brand new Lego stores, not officially licensed resale
Secondhand?
stores, secondhand.
Not secondhand, but like
But
second
yeah,
market.
yeah,
Yeah.
second market. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So we recently there was a grand opening for the Orlando Brick Co.
Mm.
Which, if you've heard of Atlanta Brick Co., they're a very popular vendor. They've opened up a brick and mortar store in Orlando. And then Bricks and Minifigs is opening two different stores in the Orlando area, in Mount Dora and South Orlando. Over the period of 3 months, Orlando gained three new Lego stores. So they were on hand at the expo to kind of advertise their stores opening and share some of their own products. Um, and it was really fun to be able to see the just like a snapshot of their store. But if I can do a little bit of a sort of a plug here for Orlando Brick Co., they I believe that they were a sponsor, or Atlanta Brick Co. is a sponsor of the event.
Hmm.
And they actually have a partnership with the season 2 winners of Lego Masters, Mark and Steven,
Hmm.
who are affiliated with the store. So and the vendor, they were actually selling the sig fig for Mark and for Steven, as well as a set that was designed by them. So it was pretty neat to actually get a set, to be able to see a set that they had designed, Lego Masters Season 2 winners had designed, that you could actually purchase and buy with real Lego pieces, with something that was not previously released before.
That's very
So it was
cool.
pretty neat to see some of that there.
That's very
And then,
cool.
of course, is the exhibitor floor. That's the biggest space of these conventions. So again, at most conventions, the exhibitor floor can be anything. You'll sometimes have an artist alley where different artists are there to display and show their prints, to show the things that they've been working on. So I already mentioned some of the MOCs that we were able to see, but there were also different sections of play, right? So Lego's main thing is play, is to interact, to be able to create and really experience hands-on activities. And it was really cool with the floor. They had sections where they had giant Duplo blocks that you could build. And for those of you that are fans of Lego Masters, they were doing the season 2 challenge, where you build the bridge and see how much weight it can support. So the guests that were visiting got a pile of Duplo blocks. They built a bridge. They brought out some weights, and they were trying to see how
Very
much
cool.
these bridges would hold.
Did you
No one got
participate?
close. I did not. I ran out of time, but I did spend some time watching it. And while no one quite got close to the 1,000 pound, uh, I think I said season 2. I meant season 1. That was a season 1 challenge. But while no one got close to that 1,000 pound record, there were some pretty solid builds that got up there. So it was pretty neat to experience that. They had a mosaic wall where you could build a tile to represent yourself or represent your family that they put up on a giant wall that was on display all weekend during the event. So that was pretty neat. They had panels where there were speaker series. So we had uh, the opportunity to view panels with Lego Master winners from season 2 and from season 4. So they were on hand to share a little bit about their experiences and talk about their time on the show and what inspired them to uh, participate in the show and in Lego and really what Lego means for them and how being on the show has enabled them to kind of give back to the community that supported them as well. So Mark and Steven were there, and Chris and Robert were there,
Yeah.
and they were there, and they talked about their experience. It was really cool to kind of hear them riff off of each other. They're very much exactly as they were on the show in person. So it was really kind of neat to get to meet them and hear them talk about those experiences.
So for season 2, there were a number of really skilled teams. I would say it's got to be Zach and Wayne because we were in the top 2 with them. I think it was like 3 or 4 times throughout the show. So that was Zach and Wayne was it for us, but all the teams were so good. It was like very neck and neck. So what about you guys?
I think for us, like probably Nina and Sam. I mean, of course. So like, I think throughout the entire season, I feel like we were almost in an arms race of who could build things bigger, and they were such talented builders that every time they built something massive, like I think episode 4, they built this massive grandfather clock. And we're like, holy crap! Like I don't think we can beat that. And so they just pushed us to go bigger and bigger and bigger, until it kind of culminated in the finale episode where they built, I think, like a 7-foot tall tree or 8-foot tall tree. And so we countered with an 8-foot wide, 8-foot long plane. And you know, that's just good entertainment.
I think it really all started around episode 3, which was the volcano episode. I distinctly remember we were building our volcano, and Nina walked over, looks our build up and down, and she just comes over to me and she says, "Ours is bigger," walks away. And that is when it started, so let it be known we did not fire the first shot. You guys didn't start it, but you might have ended it.
They had a panel for influencers, other members of the Lego community who represent.
Give it time. We'll be there.
Yeah, right. We'll be up there speaking someday. You know, but they were talking about their own experiences. Some of them represent the Lego Ambassador Program, which was fascinating to learn a little bit about and to hear about. But really, it was just a space for them to share their own excitement and their own passion and what Lego means for them. So it was really neat to kind of to get that side of it. For casual fans, for people who maybe don't know a lot about Lego and what Lego is and can be, it was a great opportunity for them to learn. There was other spaces too where other members of the Lego Masters contestants from over the years were doing different events. So we had the opportunity to meet some of the Lego Masters from season 2 who were running a STEM section. So talking about science, technology, education, and medical, and how Lego can relate to them as well. And then there was another section just kind of going through building techniques where you could do seminars and learn what is snot, what is studs not on top,
There you
NPU,
go.
nice parts usage, all of these different Lego terms and techniques that can be used when creating your own builds and things like that. So there was a lot of education available at the convention. So no matter what your interests were, there was something for you to do beyond just walk around and kind of explore the different builds and things.
There's one thing that you didn't mention, and I'm seeing it right on the front page, and I'm very concerned. They had trains, Josh. Lego trains. All right, if you don't know about me, probably not because you're new here. I enjoy model railroading. Love it. I think it's great. I model N scale. It's great. Not a lot of it, don't have a lot of room, but I enjoy watching it and looking at displays. And then you have Lego trains, and there's a lot, that community is starting to grow, and people are building their custom cars. Oh, how could you not talk about the trains, Josh?
So sorry, there was just so much there that
At the
it was
moon base.
impossible. Even though it was the very first thing when you walked into the convention floor was a gigantic, maybe 15 or 20-foot locomotive built
Oh,
out of Lego. Uh,
and the
there
Star
was so much
Wars
to do.
zone.
That's right. There was a Star Wars zone too. There was a Jurassic zone. So they had hidden little Lego accessory bone pieces in a pile of bricks, and you could go hunting for bones.
This is
From
the nice thing about this, hearing this from you, is that you can have a lot of other conventions that I've heard of that are up and coming. Now, granted, this is somewhat established, right? But you can only imagine, like, you can go to some of these things and they are half put together. Like, you walk in and there's like 3 people showing you Legos. From what you described, like, you had an entire day's worth of
Legos.
things to shoot. All right, sorry everybody. Um, oh man, it's gonna get me. I'll get there. I'll get there, everybody.
It's okay. We have a bit
Um,
now.
yeah, we do. We do. Oh man, we should just keep a running tally for the season. All right. But it sounds like you had enough to do and enjoy, because there have been other cons that just think they can be a con and they can't. But this, it sounds like they have such a great foundation that this can really grow into almost Comic-Con like, and I'm talking San Diego, New York, Comic-Con levels, where you can have so many different experiences and like it's I enjoy it. It's like taking the Lego aisle at the store and just blowing it up. See? Explosions. Episode 2. But
Yeah.
Josh, based on the what you could do at this con, and we talked a little bit about themes like trains, moon base, there was a whole thing on Star Wars. What were some of your favorite themes, but also your builds within those themes that you really stood out to you that you enjoyed? You mentioned that hotel before. It was the
Yeah,
Bayview Hotel?
The Bayview Hotel. It was a giant structure, is about 2.5, maybe 3 feet tall, made of different towers, and each layer of the tower it used the modular building technique. So
Mhm.
each floor was its own thing. The builder, who I had a chance to kind of meet and speak with for a little bit,
I'll add photos in if
had
you're watching or listening on YouTube.
had designed each floor with different themes so that you could see different guests on their balcony. Like, for instance, Dumbledore was there, just hanging off on his balcony, enjoying the day. The upper floor was a buffet, so of course, there's a restaurant. On the lower level, there was a pool with a bunch of different minifigures, kind of enjoying their time in the pool, and then the lobby area. It was an entire hotel
Mhm.
made out of Lego. And again, in discussing with the creator, some of his inspirations and his techniques and things like that, he sourced his pieces through Bricklink. So he had the idea. He started building with what he had. He realized that he needed many, many more pieces to make his dream a reality. But he was able to find those pieces through Bricklink, which we haven't really talked too much about. And I think Tom's going to probably do a section or a segment on Bricklink when we talk a little bit more about the resale
And
aspect of Lego.
just as a brief view, if you're unfamiliar with what Bricklink is, Bricklink is a now owned by Lego. Lego now owns Bricklink, I believe, I think. Or is it Brick Owl? One of the
I am
two.
not certain. I'm
Um,
not sure.
But Bricklink is a secondary market, or was a secondary market, where you could source individual pieces and parts for mocks or my own creation builds, and then you didn't have to buy, a set to get the pieces. You could buy the individual pieces of what you want, and you can buy minifigures there. You could buy whole sets, collections, what have you, all through Bricklink, and you have individual sellers that sell the individual pieces, sets, and components of the sets or what you would want to buy in terms of Lego. which is really, it's nice because it's quite affordable compared to like eBay, where eBay prices it up, but Bricklink is solely just for Lego.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the standouts. However, my absolute favorite display was if you know anything about me at all, which again you don't because you're new, we're new, we're all new here. I
Check.
love Rube Goldberg machines. The idea of one thing, cause and effect, making something happen has been a fascination of mine since I was little. I loved the old Scooby-Doo cartoons because the traps were always some version of a Rube Goldberg machine, and it fascinated me. And this particular display was an entire 360-degree view. You could walk around the entire table, and something was happening the entire way around. So using Lego motors, it very simply moved Lego balls through this build.
Was there Technic involved?
There was a lot of Technic. There was, of course, Lego power functions, so the motors making everything go. But in one
you
section,
do need the Technic, Josh. Technic needs to be in there.
It's important. It's a major component of Lego, and while I don't necessarily enjoy the building of a Technic set, I do appreciate what you are able to do
and the structural integrity of the Technic pieces.
Absolutely. Even though, did you know that a Technic brick is actually more flexible and malleable than a standard brick?
So technically, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically, it's more malleable. Get it? Technic. I try. Technically. All right, everybody. This is the end. Goodbye. I leave now. It's just Josh. Sorry. Continue. I love Rube Goldberg machines.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah, this is what we do.
But the entire thing, maybe it took to follow the ball around the entire machine, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It was that gigantic. And again, from every angle, it went in a full 360 journey, up a conveyor belt, down a thing. It shot basketball at one point. It was like getting flushed down a toilet at another. All of it brick built, all of it purely Lego, and absolutely 100% awesome. So that's another one of the standout features that was on display there. But again, there was so much. There was so much for everybody. There was a gigantic section that was all Renaissance themed. So it was entire Renaissance village with a farm and then a castle, and there was jousting. Someone else had built an entire amusement park with an actual model of some classic Disney attractions. You saw Star Tours in there, but there was a roller coaster that went through the scenes of Indiana Jones. Like,
the cool thing that you had sent me was that the Star Tours, the ride vehicle actually moved in the model that they made.
Everything in the build was functional and running. So it was, there was a lot of dynamic energy with a lot of kinetic movement, and it captures the attention. It's not just sitting on a shelf like these are behind me. And one of the things that Lego does so great is that idea of kinetic motion without necessarily anything moving. But when you can add power functions to the builds, it gets even more impressive because it captures the attention. It captures your imagination. You see it across the room. It draws you in. And then you can spend an inordinate amount of time just staring at it. And it's for that reason that I didn't get to participate in the strength challenge because I spent too much time just staring at some of these phenomenal, amazing builds.
And this is one thing that I want to bring up, but this is the idea that when you go to cons like this and you have like-minded ideas, and you have a company like Lego that is expressing interest in the creativity of those individuals and having a whole section of their division of the company dedicated to those that are really good at coming up with different designs, like the Renaissance section and or the Disney section, which you can now see that they've taken and partnered with Disney because Disney's even realized the value of its own self in Lego. Um, but they support the creativeness of the community and promote it through a voting system. And you potentially could see those mocks at those cons, granted not as large, but condensed down to a self-created set partnered with the individual that created it. And they recognize that individual. And that's what
Absolutely.
really, they don't just take their idea and put it into a set. They let the individual have creativity, partner with them, and then express their creativity through selling their set in a store. And that's what's
And
cool.
and that's one of the great things about the Lego Ideas brand and theme is another way to really award the community of builders who are passionate about a theme, an idea, a concept, and are able to bring it to life in wonderful ways. And then those ideas are voted on by other members of the same community to be, this is something that I would like to see. I would like to have this in my own home, to display, to build, to enjoy. And uh, again, truthfully, the idea of Lego is that community. It's coming together to build and to share ideas and share creativity.
Exactly. And speaking of creativity, from what you were saying before, they had an architect zone, a creative zone where you could jump in and play. Did
Mm-hmm.
you get a chance to build
It
anything while you were there?
I did not. Uh, there again, there were a lot of children there, and they were enjoying those areas more. And I would have enjoyed it as well, but I wanted to experience everything, a little bit of everything. And I'm fortunate enough to have my own bricks at home, and I felt that others may not have had that opportunity to build and to express their own creativity.
True. Did you get a chance to meet with any of the contestants from the different seasons?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we met several. I was there with my wife, and we met several of the contestants from Lego Masters from seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 here in the United States. So I mentioned that we met Mark and Steven and Chris and Robert as two sets of the winners of their respective seasons. But there was also several other contestants there. Sam and Michelle. Sam was in season 1. Michelle was in season 1 also, I think. Tim was there from season 2. He was part of a father-son duo.
Yep. There was a couple,
Dom
and
and Ethan, I believe, were on season
yeah,
3.
because then that was the first season that they started bringing the influencers in, I think. Because who was the one that came in
Right.
mid-season,
Yes.
season 3? I can't remember. Because remember they said, "Oh, we're adding an additional team." I can't. It'll be fine. But they were there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. They were
But that's
there, and I think that was Ethan and Dom. So they were part of the influencers panel. So we got to hear them speak and talk a little bit about their journey, and that kind of thing as well. So it was pretty cool to kind of get a taste of if you're a fan of that show, um, the actual people, the personalities were there, and in many cases they were displaying their own builds. Which was great to see it in person. Mark and Steven brought miniature versions of their finale build. If you remember
yeah.
the woodland forest creature thing, they had built 3 smaller versions that were in that same realm, same standard build. The actual build is on display at Legoland Florida, so they couldn't bring their winning build with them, but they had representation still with the models that they had created.
But the nice thing to hear is that they're genuine, Because you hear from a lot of these television shows that the show ends and they're completely a different person and they had put on a persona for the show. But it's nice that they are legitimately who they are and they enjoy Lego. But it
Absolutely. And getting to hear some of the behind the scenes tales of the show too was pretty fascinating. And I think maybe in preparation of season 5, we'll do an episode where we talk a little bit more about Lego Masters,
yeah,
and
I just want to
maybe
know
maybe share some of
how they like film it.
share some of the feedback.
Because I look at all these
I got the
builds,
inside
right?
scoop.
How what do they do? Because my question is that how do you take off of work like these in reality, right? Not off of TV. How do you take off like 8 weeks to do Legos? Like I don't know how you do
Mm,
that.
I
Or
didn't
are
get
you
that
just
answer.
building for 8 days straight?
Um,
Your fingers must hurt at that point.
that one.
Oh, that's a lot of Lego building. It's like jury duty, but with Legos. I apologize,
So
everybody.
we'll do. I throw in a little bit of sneak peek here, and this isn't really my information to share, but I heard it firsthand from the people that participated. So I'm going to go ahead and take that nugget and share it all with you, our dear valued listeners and viewers. And in a typical challenge, Lego Masters, again, for those of you who are not unfamiliar, Lego Masters is a show, a competition series that's on Fox, hosted by Will Arnett, the voice of Lego Batman. And
And the
they
Reese's
bring in
commercials.
contestants. Yes, that's true. But they, yeah, it's a show. But contestants would come in, they'd give them a weekly challenge, and then they'd have to build. And they're given a set amount of time. So, for instance, they might be given a task where they have to build a model that can withstand 60-mile-an-hour wind, for instance, and it needs to be aesthetic and it needs to be strong. And maybe they're given 10 hours to do that. So they have 10 hours from that moment. So in talking to some of the Lego Masters, they said that they come in on the day of filming. They learn what the challenge is that day. They shoot some footage of their reaction to the challenge and that sort of thing. But from that moment, they don't know what the challenge is in advance. They have to plan their build, design it, build it, and everything within that 10-hour block of time. However, that could be broken up into 2 days. Maybe they'll build, do some of the footage and some of the shots and things and build for 5 hours on the first day. Rest, have union mandated breaks, whatever the case is for the entertainment industry, come back on day 2 and finish their build.
Wow.
So it does give them that little bit of extra planning time. So you may see a contestant being challenged at the beginning with their ideas and it's not really working. And you see that clock is ticking down on the show. And then all of a sudden, it seems in that second round, boom, they have an idea. They know what's going on. They may have had some time to think about that while the cameras were off.
Do you stay with the other teams all night?
So it depends on the schedule and when we started the episode. You can start the episode basically any part of the day during our season. But yeah, typically we build for that 4 to 6 hours, take a lunch break, another 4 to 6 hours or later into the night if we need to. So yeah, it depended, but yeah, something like that. What about for season 4? What was your schedule like? Similar?
I think it's pretty similar. I think it's pretty rare that we have an episode that started and ended on the same day. Pretty much impossible because outside the building, there's like introduction of the challenge, there's judging, there's eliminations, etc. And so it's just a whole process, and building is just like that big central portion. Typically for us, we'd have breaks, lunch breaks, and also usually episodes are split between 2 or 3 days. So maybe we'd have 4 or 5 hours of building on one day, and then the remaining 6 or so hours the next day.
Well,
so it was fun to get a lot of that great information from the Lego Masters, and like I said, getting to meet them too was really cool. So I'm even more excited now for the new season, knowing a little bit more about how the show works, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be a contestant too, with my good buddy Tom.
I do it instantly. I thoroughly enjoy that show. It's the closest thing to Junkyard Wars that we have. We will bring that show up constantly. If you don't know what it is, Google it. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Lego Masters is like the small down version of it. That's a whole nother episode. But the most important question that I have for you at this con, Josh, it's a Lego
Yeah.
con. See, I didn't say
Well, yeah.
Legos. I said Legos.
You did there.
Dang.
There it is again. There's not going to be enough room on the screen for the tally.
The most important thing, walking away from this con. What did you walk away with? And I'm not talking about inspiration. I'm talking about what sets did you walk away with? What pieces did you walk away with?
Sure. Well, so I brought props. So from the Lego Masters, they have their own series of collectible trading cards.
Oh, you're kidding!
So
that's
we got,
neat.
Christopher and Robert. We got
they all
Sam and
signed
Michelle
it.
or tacos. Yeah.
Look at his
Tim
hat.
and Tim, other Tim was there. I mentioned the sig figs for Mark and Steven. So we got these as well. And then I also mentioned the set that they designed. So it is
neat.
it's a little it follows in the Lego Architecture Skyline series, but it's Orlando. So here's Universal. Disneyland was where the convention was held. Here's SeaWorld. It's got fish. And then this obviously represents Legoland. No, Disney. Disney World. So
Cinderella. Okay, just like with Legos, it's pronounced Cinderella Castle, not Cinderella's Castle. Think of Lego and Legos. Same principle, but with the castle.
So this was fun to take away and to build. I had mentioned a little bit earlier of the printed window tiles. Well,
he'll find it. It'll be
dropped the printed Lego tiles. What we got?
And they're on a clear tile that's then printed on, right? Okay.
So if you put light through them, they look really, really great.
Oh, very cool. And which one? You got Jaws, Harry Potter, Back to the Future, and
Home
Alone. Okay.
So all of them picked because they have corresponding sets or will have corresponding sets.
Ooh.
August 3rd, the Jaws
set?
Ideas set will be released. So we're very, very much anticipating seeing what that set's going to look like.
I want to see the person that turns it into the Universal attraction Jaws. Just saying.
Right?
If you're creative out there, I want to see that.
And then there was also a fantastic thing. My wife is an avid reader, big Harry Potter fan, but we collect books. We have our own little personal library. But this is a book, but it's printed with the Harry Potter.
That's
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Cool. What piece is that? What piece is it printed on? Could you bring it a little bit closer?
I will try. So it is. So it's a standard Lego book piece that has been found in multiple sets. So it has the writing inside. But the cover of it is printed with the image. So it's Harry Blocker and the Prisoner of Azkaban, because copyright is important to not. And it you can actually read it. It says Chapter 1, Al Post. Harry Potter was a Harry Blocker was a. I can't read that small because
you need your Lego magnifying
one of those little
glass.
teeny tiny Lego magnifying glasses in order to read it. But those were some of the things that we picked up, meaningful to us, to our personal passions, and also I think a good representation of the event itself. Additionally, as part of the expo, we got a signature brick.
Oh, very cool. And it's two 8x1s stacked on top of each other?
Yep, exactly. And folks that either present or exhibit, typically they will get these and they'll stack them on top to kind of represent their Lego journey. So a lot of them had these on their table with all of the different conventions and things that they had been to.
Very nice. Hey,
so a nice little trip down memory lane for people who attend, for the people who are presenting and exhibiting and everything like that. A great little memento.
And the nice thing is you get that little memento. You connect with other people that share the same passions with you. You see sets from your childhood. You see sets that you want that you might not be able to afford due to the price point and the inflation on the Lego set, aka you can make a full-time living reselling Lego. We'll talk about it. But also it's the idea that it was just a great and fun experience from what I get from
Absolutely.
you. And you would do it again instantly, I assume.
Absolutely, because every time it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be different in terms of what displays there are, what projects, what people, what's being sold. It's not a cut and dried same thing every year. There's always going to be something new and something exciting because that's the nature of Lego, right?
Yep.
Is it's constantly changing. It can be one thing today and another thing tomorrow. And I think actually just maybe it was last weekend. You mentioned Comic Con kind of being that big one, big convention that everyone knows about. Brick World Chicago was happening, and that's kind of the Lego version.
Me-
It's the big one
Mecca.
that a lot of people will go to, and it's a different experience. Each place you go, each location, each time, each year. So it's fun to go year after year and see what the newest thing is.
Yeah, and I'm totally down. Next time one comes to where I am, I'm totally down to go. And just like you said, with those stores that are starting to pop up, those secondhand Lego stores, where it's the idea that you walk in, and Josh will talk about this in a future episode, and we'll share some photos from it. He sent me these photos from this store, and it's like you're walking into it. Like these builds are amazing, and they create so much inspiration and fun for not only you, but for your families and your loved ones, and just the friends that you have, like I have with Josh. That I can't wait to go to my first one. Josh can't wait to go to his third one.
Third.
And we want to bring you along with that. And with that, today we are going to call it our episode. Next week, we might be talking a little bit more. I might be talking a little bit more about the Lego aspect of reselling it. Yep, we're going to talk about the secondhand market of Lego, maybe touch on a couple of other topics. But we appreciate you being here and watching again and listening, especially if you're listening on podcast. But we're here to remind you to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already and you've enjoyed it. If you have a friend that not only enjoys Lego but also enjoys podcasts and our YouTube, Josh, what should they do?
Like and subscribe. Watch.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Josh. So, wait, my name's Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and you have been watching and listening to the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
See you next time, everybody.
Bye.